This summer we're making one short film each month, and last month was the first. We made a short film called Fragments of Her. It is live now on my YouTube channel, you can go check it out. And in this video I'll be talking about some technical aspects and creative decisions I made during the filming of Fragments of Her. Let's go. To start, let me just list the gear that we made this movie with. I shot it on this camera, which is Lumix S52X. It is an amazing camera, I've had it for a long time. We shot the entire film in 4K, 24 frames per second, and it is an amazing piece of kit. We shot it with two lenses, both of those are zooms. Most of the film, I think 95%, is shot on this lens, which is Sigma 28 to 70mm, f2.8. And for the SnorriCam shot, I switched to Lumix's lens, which is 20 to 60 because it gave me a bit of wider shot. Although that is a kit lens, so the aperture is variable, but I don't think it mattered because we shot it on f4 because the lens was fully zoomed out, so it was 20mm, so we can see a lot more surroundings that we could with this lens. And those are only two lenses we used during the entire film. And for the beginning of the montage with the boyfriend that we shot on the den, when they are running, we used drone, DJI Air 3 that I used. I have a lot more shots filmed with the drone, but they just really didn't fit in nicely with the edit, so I used only one, which you can see it's the first shot is with the drone, and then everything else is with the camera on a giant gimbal to make it look super smooth and flowy and nice and stabilized as well. That's for the camera. As for the light, we used Nanlite Pavo Tubes 15Cs. I have a kit with 4 of them, and they were used to light most of the film. Even in the perfect conditions and in the rough party conditions, they were primary lighting source. We also used this SmallRig spotlight you can see behind me, and SmallRig long battery life RGB light that is on top of my camera right now. It's about this size and it's amazing because it has a long battery life and also has different modes like party rave type of mode that we used for those drugged shots. And we used sticks, like classic, a tripod. For the montage shots with her and her boyfriend, we used slider, I believe is a GVM slider. It is an electric slider, but I used it with the battery off so I can have full control over the sliding and camera motion. You can see that in the behind the scenes videos and pictures. And for most of the shots, I used the Zhiyun's Weebill, I believe it's 3S gimbal. So we have those perfect floaty, kind of moody, perfect shots. So the first technical decision that I made was to shoot the entire film without any audio. So we did not shoot any audio during the filming. It was primarily just in-camera audio that was there as kind of a backup, or not even a backup, kind of a reference for editing. But the entire film is sound designed in post and it's followed with music. I wanted to go with that more experimental route, and I wanted to make it more atmospheric and moody instead of dialogue focused film. I think it turned out quite nice and I think it looks interesting. The sad part is, as I said in previous video, we had to cut out one of the more emotionally charged scenes where our two main actors are fighting, and it is an amazing scene, but unfortunately it had to be cut out because there is no audio and it kind of ruined the flow and the entire premise of the film. But that was the first creative choice I made. When her life is absolutely perfect, we have flowy and perfect transitions, everything is shot on gimbal, everything is super smooth and there are no rough cuts between scenes. Everything is, has some kind of a flow, perfect transition. And then when her life goes to everything is shot handheld and everything is super shaky and there's a lot of shutter drag effect. So when her life is perfect, everything is flowy and smooth and there are no hard cuts. And then when her life goes to shit, we have handheld, jittery motions, and there are only hard cuts, no perfect transitions whatsoever. Some of the creative things I wanted to explore during this shoot is some interesting frames, like when the camera is inside of the fridge. I know that's not super creative and it's already seen before, but there are 2 shots that are pretty interesting, I would say, and not that often seen. We have a shot which is from inside of the skincare product cream tube thingy. You can see it's very interesting. I made the rig a few days before. I actually used a tub of pre-workout that I cut out from the bottom, and we used that 20 to 60mm lens so we can get that super wide shot, but we didn't actually need to use that. And I just glued the pre-workout case onto the shader actually, so I can like perfectly remove it and put it back on, and it had the lid. So we had the perfect rig to make it look like the camera is shooting from the perspective of the skincare cream, and we actually put cream on the inside, like face cream moisturizer I had lying around from on the inside of the tube, so she can actually take the cream and put it on her face to make it look super realistic. Another creative shot that is in the film is from the perspective of the sink when she is brushing her teeth. That shot was not planned whatsoever. I kind of came up with it on the day of the shoot because I was like, okay, I want to do something interesting and I want something like of an interesting transition, and we were a lot ahead of schedule, so we had time to kind of play around with it. And I had a clear plexiglass kind of tray that I bought specifically for the shots where something has to be falling on the camera. But since my camera is large and does not fit in the tiny sink, I actually used my iPhone 12 Pro, which is quite an old phone, and I think you can see the quality dip when we switch to the phone. But it's okay, it was shot in 4K, so it was all right, I believe. It was fine. So I just stuck my phone to the bottom of the plexiglass tray, and we just placed the plexiglass tray under the sink, and then we have the perfect image of her running the water over the phone, and that kind of from the sink shot, which I think it turned out quite nice if you can kind of squint and ignore the lower quality when compared to the camera. With the lighting, as you can see, it doesn't look super cinematic film type vibe. It doesn't have that vibe because I wanted to, for her perfect life, I lit the places like fully, top lit. Everything is super bright because I wanted to have it kind of a commercial lighting vibe, no harsh shadows, and make it super perfect, even though it looks less cinematic, because then that would make super aggressive switch when we go from that kind of everything is super bright, nicely lit, evenly, no harsh shadows, yada yada, to her like being drunk and everything is like, the whole apartment is trashed and there are super harsh flashing lights almost exclusively. So we almost exclusively lit that with the RGB effect of, just switching lights. So that kind of gives me the super hard contrast of, everything is perfect, evenly lit, to more extreme flashing lights and colors. And that's everything for this video, which is more of a technical side. If you want to see more behind the scenes stories and anecdotes that happened during the filming of Fragments of Her, you can check out the previous video in which I talk more about, things that happened during the filming, and I talk more detail about day-to-day shooting and less of this technical aspect. So this video is more for a technical aspect. If you're interested on how the shooting went behind the scenes, you can check out the previous video, and I will see you in the next one. Thank you for watching.